Hi, are you studying for your FTCE 035 Reading K-12 exam? If so, why don't we look at some practice questions together? My name is Ethan, and I'm a licensed Florida teacher. Today, we're going to be testing your knowledge of text types and structures to help you get ready for test day. We'll be looking at some questions like the kind that you'll be seeing on your real test. Problem 1 says, when selecting a non-print text for instructional use, a teacher should consider one of the following 4 things. A non-print text, like the name might imply, is any kind of text that you don't have to print out, like a digital resource or an online article. A says that you need to consider ethical and copyright concerns. You as a teacher, if you're using a text for instructional purposes, you don't have to worry about copyright. That falls under what we call free use. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that answer choice out. B says that we should consider student preferences for print and non-print text. Now, in a perfect world, we can consider student preferences. But in reality, students, as they go through their lives, will be exposed to all kinds of texts, print and non-print. So we have to expose them to both. That's our job as teachers. Let's get rid of that answer choice. C says we need to consider whether copies of the text can be shared. That also falls under copyright. But again, you as a teacher, if it's a digital resource, if it's out there on the internet and you're using it for instruction, you don't have to worry about copyright. So we can cross out that answer choice too. And finally, D says student access to the required technology. You have to consider whether or not your students can access a digital resource on the internet. Do you have computers? Do you have laptops or tablets? You have to consider accessibility. And that's why D is our answer choice. Problem 2 says, when evaluating print text for instructional use, it is important to consider the complexity of the text because of one of the following 4 reasons. When we talk about complexity, we mean how difficult it is for a student to engage with the text. Does the text have a lot of high-level vocabulary? Does the text have a lot of complicated sentence structure? Okay. A says we have to consider text complexity because text complexity impacts student comprehension and engagement. Ding, 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 that's the answer. Text complexity absolutely impacts student engagement. If a text is too complex, if it's too high of a level for a student and their reading level is down here, they will get frustrated with that text. They'll give up, they'll shut down on it. And in fact, the opposite is true too. If a student is on a higher reading level and they're assigned a text that's on a lower reading level, if it's not as complex as their skills are expecting, then they will get bored with it and they won't engage with it, all right? We can look at the other answer choices too and see why they're no good. B says that text complexity is often proportional to the quality of a text. That's not always true. A text can use a lot of high-level vocabulary and be very complex, but it might not always be factually accurate, and it might not always be high quality. So that's why we don't like that answer choice. C says that a text should always be challenging for students, and D says that complex texts are more likely to improve reading skills in students, but both of those things aren't true. We're not about just throwing complex texts at students. Again, we need to assign them texts that are on the correct level of complexity for them and for their needs. If a text is overly complex or too complex for a certain student, their skills won't improve. They'll just give up. That's why we don't like either of those answer choices. Again, A is the correct answer choice. Text complexity impacts student comprehension and engagement because if a text is too complex, a student won't be able to engage with it. And if a text isn't complex enough, it will bore them. Problem 3 says, which of the following is most important to consider when selecting a text for reading instruction? That phrase, most important, that tells me that 1 or 2 of these answer choices might be kind of important, but we're looking for the most important one. In other words, we're looking for the best answer choice, all right? A says that when you're selecting a text for instruction, you need to consider the publisher of the text. Generally, you as a teacher, you don't have to worry about who the publisher is, so long as the text is helpful for instruction and useful, then you don't have to worry about that. So we can cross out that answer choice. B says that you need to consider the length of the text, and maybe sometimes you do. If a text is too long and the students won't have time to get through it, what you as a teacher can do is you can have them read half of the text, or you can have them read a portion of the text. So that might be a concern, but not a big one because you have that workaround. So we can get rid of that answer choice as well. C says that you need to consider the popularity of the text. That isn't true though. As long, again, as a text is useful for instruction, you don't need to worry about whether or not it's popular or famous or well-known. So we can get rid of that one too. And then D says that you need to consider the relevance of the text. In this context, relevance means how is it relevant to your classroom? Can the text be used to help you reach your learning goals? Will it align with state standards? You have to think about whether or not it's relevant to what you're trying to do for the day. If your students need help with figurative language and a text has no figurative language in it, then it's not going to be helpful and it's not going to be relevant. So that's why D is our answer. You need to consider the relevance. Last question. Problem 4 says, which of the following describes a defining feature of an expository text? Remember, expository is explanatory. In an expository text, the author is trying to explain something or inform the reader using facts. What jumps out to me when I read this question is that phrase, a defining feature. So we're looking for a feature that appears in all expository texts, not just in some. A says that a defining feature of an expository text is it presents an argument or opinion. No. Expository texts don't offer opinions. They don't pick sides. That is something you would find in an argumentative text. You got to remember the difference, okay? So we can cross out A. B says it provides factual information to explain a topic. Yes, exactly. That is a defining feature of all expository texts. That's what they do, so that's why we pick B. C says it describes a series of events or actions. Okay, some expository texts might do that, but not all expository texts. So we can't say that that's a defining feature. That's why we get rid of C. And then D says it aims to entertain the reader. No, the topic in an expository text can range from serious to just purely factual. It's hardly ever entertaining, and that's never really the primary purpose of an expository text. So that's why we get rid of D. B is our correct answer because it reads, it provides factual information to explain a topic. That's exactly what an expository text does. That keyword explain equals expository. I hope that video was helpful. If you need any more help studying for your FTCEs, watch some of our other videos and be sure to like and subscribe for more. You might want to check out some of the links below for some helpful resources. I'm wishing you the best of luck on test day.